Is enemies to lovers one of your favorite romance tropes? Or are you a romance author or aspiring romance author who's wondering about how to write a compelling enemies to lovers romance? Well, then you're in the right place. I'm Reese Ryan, author of sexy, emotional, grown folks romantic fiction featuring characters finding love while navigating career drama and family drama and career crisis. And this is Story Behind the Story with Reese Ryan, where authors and readers connect. And tonight, I'm going to be joined for the first episode of a new series that I'm doing called Romance Tropes We Love. And I'm being joined by best-selling Wall Street Journal and USA Today author Dylan Allen. And we're going to be having an interactive chat with the readers tonight about why you love enemies to lovers romance so much and about why we love reading it and writing enemies to lovers romance. And we're also going to talk about, some of our thoughts about what makes for a compelling enemies to lovers romance. And we're also, of course, going to recommend some because we like to bust people's TBRs here. So always want to rec books for you to read. So definitely we're going to be doing that this evening. So stay tuned. If you are excited to chat with Dylan Allen this evening, be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and share buttons so that other readers can find it as well. And we are a very interactive show. So by all means, if you have questions or comments, leave them in the chat and we will address them as we have the opportunity to do so. And if you're watching from Facebook, welcome. If you are there and you have the description of the show listed on the page, then you want to scroll down on the page to the link for StreamYard so you can give StreamYard permission to see your Facebook avatar as well as your name so that we'll be able to see who it is that we are chatting with this evening. All right, I think that pretty much covers everything except for my next show will be October the 17th. And my guest then will be romance legend, Rochelle Allers. And so she will be joining me to talk about her career and some of the lessons that she has learned during her illustrious career as a legendary romance author. So let's get into, last reminder is that the Men for Hire series is now available because I think, last time when we were chatting, it was still up for pre-order. So it is available now. So my book, Date for Hire, as well as Boyfriend for Hire by Delaney Diamond and Fiance for Hire by Sharon C. Cooper are all available now. So make sure if you haven't gotten your copy that you get your copy of all three books. So now let's get into talking to Dylan Allen. And hello, Dylan. Welcome to the show.
Hello. Hi. Hello. How are you?
I'm so excited to have you here.
I'm so excited to be here. This is great. Thank you.
Excellent. So first off, let me just start by saying hi to some of the folks who are saying hi to us. Okay. So Angela Anderson, hello. Cassandra, thank you so much for joining us.
Good evening.
We have a Facebook user, so make sure you give Facebook permission to see your name and your avatar by going to the bottom of the show description and clicking that link. And one of the Facebook users says she is a legend. I assume you're talking about Rochelle Allers. Absolutely,
yes,
she is. So excited to be chatting with her. I got a chance to chat with her.
That's amazing. Lucky you.
Yeah, I got a chance to chat with her at the Raw Experience in Virginia last year. Shay Baby does. And so I was her conversation partner there, and that was awesome. So I can't wait to talk to her again. Veronica Lockett, who was one of the winners for the Men for Hire scavenger hunt. Thanks for joining us, Veronica.
Hi, Veronica.
We have Dolores Lee.
Hello.
Thank you so much for being here, and we're doing well. Thank you so much. And yay, you were able to make it, Carlene.
Hello.
So nice to have you here.
Nice. Okay.
Yep, nice to have you here. So So great to have everybody here. So the first question I have for you, Dylan, is for somebody who's not familiar with you. Tell us a little bit about who you are and what it is that you write.
Okay, hi, I'm Dylan Allen, and I write contemporary romance that is diverse and sexy and high stakes with characters who are aspirational, people that you would love to be friends with, that you would cheer for in real life, that you want to see succeed. And I write romances that, are worth the time it takes to write them. They have to fight for their HEA. And I love nothing better than, getting to people who, have nothing but love on their side, to their HEA. So, and I write I write a lot of immigrant stories, people whose parents are immigrants or they're immigrants themselves, or my characters are immigrants, and so I guess that informs their story. But yeah, I write contemporary romance that's set all over the world. That's very high steam, high stakes, lots of fun, lots of drama, lots of family drama.
Love the family drama. Love the family drama, and I love that you incorporate.
I love it. I mean,
of immigrants.
What would we do without it?
yeah, and I love that you incorporate that they're immigrants or their families are immigrants. So that's awesome. Yeah, so tell us a little bit about how you got started writing romance.
I think, by the way, all of us did by reading it, voraciously. But I used to read romance like when I was 12 and 13 and 14, all through. And then, we got to college and all of a sudden what we were supposed to read were serious books, so I didn't start reading romance again until 2014. And I fell right back in the way I used to be. I was reading, like a book in a day and a half, and I was reading a lot of historical romance. And I got this Oprah book list of the best romances of all time and fell in that way. And then I just never looked back. But when I was approaching my 40th birthday, I'd always loved to storytell. I didn't necessarily love writing, so I'd never written a full book, but I write stories. So I decided to, write myself for my 40th birthday present to myself. I was going to write a romance with a woman who I'd been thinking about, and a group of sisters. She has 3 sisters, but I only planned to write that one book. And she was, she was like me, had a parent from Ghana. She was multiracial. She was living in London. She was an American lawyer. She went to Harvard Law School. I kind of created, I didn't go to Harvard. I don't mean in that way, but I am a lawyer too. And I did go to an Ivy League undergrad, and I wanted to write someone. I just had never seen a woman like her on the pages of the romances I read. And I wanted to kind of give her an HEA. She was me, kind of. I went back to my days and, in the early part of my career, and, just gave myself a little, made it more fun, said the things I would have said and did the things I wished I had, and, met the nice guy instead of the bad guy. And that was all. And then I wrote it and I published it, and then people read it, and it was like, I was so shocked, and they wanted another book, and I had these 3 sisters. So I thought, yeah, of course I'll write them. And then I got inspiration. It just kind of snowballed. And then in 2018, about a year after I started, I lost my job. And so then I really didn't, I was like, well, seems to be picking up steam.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I've been doing it ever since. This is my 5th year full-time writing.
Wow, that's amazing. I love this story. I always love finding out how people got started, writing and what have you. And so I love that. First of all, it was like a gift to yourself for your upcoming 40th birthday to finally write that book, because people so many people say, I want to write a book. You finally decided to gift that to yourself. Yes. And, I love that you incorporate your, so much of your own background, having your family be from, you were born in Ghana, right?
I was born in Ghana. Yeah, I was born in Ghana.
And so I love that. I love that you're doing that. So that's awesome. So, dipping into the audience really quickly
Okay.
again. Cassandra says, yes, Dylan is a new author to me, so I'm excited about that. That always makes me excited
Yay. Hi,
to
yeah.
introduce readers to a new author. Dolores Lee says, I need to read one of your books, Dylan.
Yes, Dolores.
Yes, you do.
I agree.
And Tanya Brown Rivers also says, yes, Dylan is new to me.
Oh,
Um,
that's wonderful. I love
so
it.
yeah, this is so exciting to me. It's so exciting to me to
Thank
have
you so
readers
much for
discover your
sharing
people.
your
So,
lovely audience with me. I hope y'all enjoy the books.
and Dolores Lee says, I love reading about immigrants. I enjoy the different culture that authors include. I love that as well.
Yes, I do too. I mean, I think what's the point of being me if I'm not going to write the stories that only I can write? I'm like, what's
Yeah,
the point?
right,
You know what I
right,
mean? I'm like,
exactly.
yeah.
And
So.
you know, that's the whole thing we've been talking about so much and bringing more diversity to romance is that you know you want that representation, and so
Yeah.
you're really doing that, and you
Well,
know,
I'm
and
trying
writing
to, you know, I
stories
think,
this
you know,
way.
this
So
is so such an interesting, you know, space to navigate and to in terms of identity. But you know, I'm trying to, you know, I'm trying to tell stories that only I can tell.
yeah, you were certainly hitting it on the head, hitting the nail on the head. So I love that. I love that.
Thank you.
So uh, your re-release of Best for Last, which is
Yes.
you know,
Yes.
an enemies to lovers romance. Give us a
Lovers.
little bit on the give us a little bit of the story behind the
Okay.
story on that. So what's the premise of the book and how did you come up with it?
Okay. So this is the third. This is one of the three sisters, and the three sisters. I have two sisters. I'm one of three sisters, and I gave and the middle. They all of their names start with the same initials as my sisters. So the youngest one's is an A, the oldest is an M, and the middle is an L. I'm in the middle. That's my real name starts with an L. So you know, so they're kind of loosely, but they, you know, they're not us, and you know, so she's the middle sister, the last book, and I knew that I wanted to set one of the books in Ghana. You know, I knew I wanted to, and she was so mysterious in the first two books that I had to really figure out why she was so distant and quiet and moody. And when I did, I realized, you know, I decided that I was going to set, and then also, this is actually the real thing behind the book. When I was writing another book in like December of 2017 when Prince Harry made a statement about defending his girlfriend. And at the time, the first book in the series, that first book with the girl, Meghan Markle had been my muse, but she'd just been on Suits. Like no one, you know, she was just on Suits. She wasn't super famous. And I didn't even know, you know, I found her watching Suits and I was like, oh, she kind of looks like this girl in my head. And then all of a sudden, Prince Harry is like, this is my woman, and y'all better keep her name out of your mouth. And I was like, oh my God, this is so sexy. And you know, you know, so I was like, this is so hot. And you know, my grandmothers, both of them, my mother's mom and my father's mom, both had white husbands, and it's a very common thing in Ghana. You come a lot of, especially in the days when Ghana was a colony, people came from all over. My paternal grandfather was Lebanese. My maternal one is English. So I had, you know, I was like, well, I'm gonna make this an interracial romance with a, you know, biracial woman and a white man he's not gonna be a prince. So I made him a duke, you know, and I love historical romance. You know, I made him, they met in Ghana. She was there to kind of, you know, face her demons, and she wanted to go home to a place where she thought she could feel at home, which was, you know, where the place that her mother comes from. And then he's there for business, and they meet, and they have this, it was a holiday fling. It was meant to be a holiday fling, but of course, you know, I love second chances. And so when they go their separate ways, I wanted them to reconnect. And so I used the series to do so, because I had them attend a wedding that is from, you know, another book. And so, you know, so they reconnected, and it's very angsty because their holiday fling, she has a made up name. Before she meets him, before they decide to have a fling, she's already like picked her vacation name. So that's the name. So he doesn't know her name. And, you know, she kind of ghosts him at the end of the trip because she has so many things that she does not want anyone to find. She has so many secrets. They all come out at the end of the book, but you know, it was, I don't know, it was so much angstier than I thought it would be. It also has a sexual assault on the page, and I put the trigger warning on the front, but you know, in the front, so that if you open it, you know that, because it actually is how the book begins. It's more of an emotionally detailed scene than a physically detailed one, but it was, I knew that that was her story, and it was also part of my lived experience, and it was the first time I'd ever even had let myself go back to think about what happened to me. I didn't even told anyone when I started writing that book. When I started writing it, I told everybody. It was so freeing and wonderful, and to give her, you know, a much quicker, you know, journey to happily ever after than I did was wonderful. So, and that was it, you know, and the second half is set in England, in this beautiful estate that his family owns, that his dad is a duke, so he's about to inherit this duke, and it's gorgeous. It's in the winter, and it's just, you know, I had the best time researching it and building my mood boards. It's a beautiful story. So.
Wow. Just so much there.
I know, so much.
Of like,
Yeah,
and so I appreciate you mentioning that about the trigger warnings. That's something I was just having a conversation with a friend of mine earlier today about. You know, that it's you know, that's something that we've learned in recent years, right? That
I certainly
something
didn't have it when I first released it, because that, you know, 5 years ago that wasn't a thing. So
right.
These are re-releases, and now I've brought them. I gave them a polish and made them appropriate for now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely have been doing, and the last couple of books I've been putting out, you know, they've dealt with various things that felt necessary to put in a trigger warning.
Just give people a warning. Yeah, I think so. And I know some people think that they're spoilers, or that'll make people not want to read it, but I don't think so. I think, you know, if anything, people are intrigued by them, and also it's fair, you know, it's not, you know, if we know better, we should do better, you know. So I don't mind. I think, you know, and people can make up their own minds about what they want to read, and I love making informed decisions. That's why I read romance. You know, there's a promise at the. I know that no matter what they go through, it's going to end happily. And so when I pick up a romance that does not end happily, I feel deeply betrayed, and I will never.
Right? You know, that's a conversation I don't even understand why we keep having to have. Like, there's love story, and then there's romance, and then there's rules, right?
There's room for both. But if you tell me it's a romance and I read it and it does not end happily, you and I are never going to be friends again.
Yeah, I know.
I'll never
just stop the foolishness. Stop it. Stop it. So you know, that's interesting now too, that you tell us this thing about Meghan Markle and Harry. And in this book, you have the characters Lily and Harry. So give us a little bit of an insight into those characters.
Okay, so Lily, I just, you know, she is she's probably the character that's my heroine that she's a little hard to like. She's kind of mean to him when they meet. It's enemies to lovers. And it's like they meet on the plane, and they have a failed Mile High Club attempt, and it does not end well, and they both hope they never see each other again. You know, they hope they never see each other again, and then, you know, they run into each other.
Thank you for that, because I feel like that's more realistic. So
yeah, no, it's so I can't even you can't even sit on a plane, much less. I know. Right. So a failed attempt, and they hope they never see each other again. But they do. About a week later, she's finally kind of putting it behind her, and then bam, he shows up. And so I knew that because she's there she has these demons chasing her. She hasn't ever told her family what happened to her, but she's ready to, because she misses them. She misses going home. So she's come here to kind of just reconnect with herself, you know, work out some things, be in a place where no one knows her, and just, you know, just get it together and go back to the States, to Houston, where her family lives, and finally just get this stuff off her chest and live her life. She wants her life back. She was a very vivacious, brave, courageous sort of, you know, she had such a you know, she was very brave. She kind of, you know, just leapt into everything, tried everything. And then now that's so different. So they meet, and she's not happy to see him. He's kind of happy to see her, because she definitely, you know, felt worse about that interaction on the plane than he did. But after the first time they see each other again, she's so awful that he's like, okay, I don't know what I thought I saw, but there's nothing there. But over the course of their stay, that changes. You know, they get stuck in an elevator together, and that completely transforms their relationship because you know, she needs him and he's there for her, you know, without her having to say so. She has a panic attack, and it's such a great scene in the book. And it's, you know, I might be skipping ahead, but I think when you're writing enemies to lovers, that is for me always a wonderful way to break that, to change the dynamic, is to put them in a position where they need each other. They need, not necessarily like to be saved, but you know, one of them is in the position to really materially change in a good way the person they've been sniping at's trajectory, and it forces them to really sort of be honest about how they feel about this person and put things aside. And so I mean, and Harry is the oldest son of a duke, and so he is the heir. He's not, you know, unlike the other Harry, he's not,
yes, he does fair.
he doesn't have all the choices. He's, you know, he's there trying to do some things that his father is not necessarily on board with, in terms of the business they run. They have a family farm. The estate is like a farm. It's a working estate. They make all sorts of things like cheese and yogurt and butter and juices, and they have, it's a huge operation, and he's there looking for new sources for their like body lotions and things, you know. So it's very realistic. Ghana is the place where they get shea butter for everything that we buy here. That's Ghana is where everybody goes for it. So I had him go there for, you know, for looking to get some contracts, and he is very stoic. He's had his heart broken. He's been humiliated by, you know, his ex-fiance, and he also, you know, there's an expectation that he's going to marry someone who is part of the world he is from, not just from his parents, but himself, you know, because that's what he's supposed to, you know, and he's always done what he's supposed to do. He has a younger brother who does whatever he wants, but he's never been able to. So he's a very sort of composed person, but he's also very like, I don't know how to say it, because, you know, that's the problem with speaking more than one language. Like when there's a perfect way to say something in that language, you don't know how to say it in English. But the closest thing I can say is he respects himself. You know, he has this sense of like, you know, this is a line, and you can't, you know, you're not going to talk to me this way. I don't care how much I like you. I don't care how whipped I am. I don't care, whatever. You know, and I really love that about him, because my husband is that way, and it's very calming for someone who likes to fight like I do, and like she does, like she does. You know, it's like a whole new way of life. I was like, oh, we don't have to fight. You know, there's like, you know, I think a lot of us grow up thinking there's something about love that it makes it exciting when y'all are arguing, and when you realize that's not true, it's wonderful. So I wanted her to meet someone who wouldn't meet her where she was, who would stay and force her to, if she wanted to be with him, to also like come up there with him, and where the air is better, you know.
Oh, I love that.
So
I love that.
loved them. They were so good together, and then they go, you know, I love the story. It's really
I'm already like, dang, I gotta read this.
Yeah, it's so emotional. It's very emotional.
I love all the aspects that you're talking about their backgrounds, and just, you know, the working farm. I'm fascinated by that, and just the personalities, how those work.
And it's set in Ghana. It is, you know, the place that they are is my home village. It's a real place. You know, it's a place we stay when we go there, and you know, it's where it's my mother's village, where my mother is from. And so it was for me just so nice to be there and to take people there, because they eat, you know, and they go on the beach. So I get to talk about the food, and you know, her cousin, she's there with one of her cousins, and so we get to see some of the social dynamics of the local young people in Ghana, you know, sort of comparing them to the way we navigate life here. You know, it's just a chance for me to show people home, you know.
Yeah,
And
no,
also
I
Ghana is
love
such a
that.
popular place to
I
go to
love
Ghana.
that. The
Everybody wants
very
to go
first
to
book I
Ghana. Ghana,
wrote,
everybody wants to go to
I
Ghana.
studied in my home as well, in my hometown of Cleveland. And that was part of my thinking too, is like, with Cleveland, people always have these negative thoughts, about the
Right.
burning river and stuff like this, And so I wanted to show a side of Cleveland that people don't talk about. And so that I totally get that. And so I love that you were able to do that. And as a matter of fact, let's dip it here because first of all, there's a few questions I need to
Okay.
Okay, so Veronica says I love adding authors to my TBR, so that's great.
Yay.
And Carlene asked, what is the name of the books? So
sorry, girl. I'm so sorry, y'all. This is called Best for Last. Here's our Duke Carey Best for Last. It is it's in KU, but you can also just buy it on on Kindle. And this is the back. This is the paperback. There's a different paperback as well. I don't have it. It's illustrated, but I can show you. I don't have.
So they're both available, the illustrated and the paper, and that one.
It's available in this, and then the sorry, y'all. The I don't have it because I just don't have any copies of it. But the all the series, they have a paperback that has the woman on it like this. So this is hers is purple and green, but there's a paperback like that, and this is for the first book. They're on Amazon. They're very beautiful. They have, the Adinkra symbol. It's called the symbol series because each of the sisters wear a pendant that has a symbol on it, and the symbols come from a traditional belief system called Adinkra in Ghana, that each of these symbols means something. And so the first sister has the first book, hers was called Aya. Aya is a symbol of endurance. And so all the symbols mean something to the story, so and the paperbacks have, you can see, I don't know if you can see, they have the print, that's the symbol in the yellow. I feel like so anyway.
So what are the 3 book titles for the series?
The first book is Still the One. The second book is Then Came You. And then the last book is Best for Last.
Perfect name for the last book in the series. So very good.
And it is my favorite. And I think anyway, because all of them are there. All the sisters, you see both of them. You can read them out of order. I mean, I think it might be, I don't know if it's best enjoyed in order, but you can read them out of order.
Nice.
As standalones.
And Tanya says, love the diversity.
Thank you. Yeah.
And Daryl, hey Daryl, how are you? Says, excellent job, ladies. Great interview. The Ghana background is intriguing. Daryl collects African masks and things like that. So I can definitely understand why that would be especially appealing to Daryl. And Tanya says, so romantic. Yeah. And she also says those are panic attacks. Don't feel too good.
No, absolutely. They don't. I've had one. I know they don't. But
yeah. Okay. And so since I mentioned the first book was set in Cleveland, Carolyn asked what that first book was. And it's interesting you asked that. It was called Making the First Move. But I
love that. That's a great title for your first book.
So I actually acquired the rights back to that book and the book after it, Love Me Not. So they might not be available. And if it is available, it might only be the audiobooks because I'm going to redo them and re-release them. So
that's exciting.
Yes, I actually did get the rights back to those. So you might not find that book out there. So Veronica says, nice, love the covers. Oh, and Nadia says Dylan designed all the covers herself. You did not mention that.
Oh my God! Hey, Nadia.
Look at you, burying the lead.
Look at my girl. Hey, hey, Nadia. Yeah, I do. I design all the covers myself. I do all my covers. I've been since 2020, and I'm
going to assume that this is LaShira Lee. It says, "Hey, Sunshine."
Hey, yes, it is. Hey, LaShira.
I'm going to assume that
our fairy godmother.
Hey, LaShira. So now let's shift gears.
Okay.
Best for Last is an enemies to lovers romance.
Yes.
Why do you think that readers tend to really enjoy consistently?
I think because of the predictability of it's going to end happily. I think for some people, in order to really, really enjoy something, you need some tension that's believable, that makes you forget for a moment that this is actually going to end up happily, because there's something about that page turning, sort of how in the world are they going to come back from this, and the conflict sometimes, where for one of them to have what they want, the other one has to lose what they want. Like they both can't have it. So
Right.
I think it's the tension, and then watching that turn into something beautiful that that feels good. Yeah, I think that's why I like it anyway.
Yeah.
Why do you think so? What do you think?
I think it's, for one, definitely the conflict. Like people love that conflict, and I know for me, I'm not a person who loves writing stories with a huge Black moment.
Okay.
So for me, conflict is always something I need to work on, and it's also something I will often get flagged on, and so that definitely builds in the conflict for me. The
Right.
fact that you have this whatever the issue is for the two. So I think that's part of it for readers too. Like they love that conflict that you have, and it just kind of makes it, I don't know, kind of makes it sweeter when they finally come together,
Yes. And it's also really, it gives you a different perspective on the character that you may not get if the whole time, you don't, you get, it just gives you you get to know them better, because you see you see them in two very different lights. And also, anyway, let me not go on too much, but
well, and that's a question I would love to pose to the readers here too.
Yeah.
Like, what is it about Enemies to Lovers that you love so much? Because like whenever we talk about romance tropes that people love, and that's the name of the series, romance tropes we love, is Enemies to Lovers is always right up there. It's usually either like the number one or it's like number two. It's like right in there. And I know for me personally, it's in my top 5 because I have a top 5.
Yeah.
Not a
oh, you do. You have a top 5. I don't even have
yeah, I can't just pick one. Do you have like one favorite?
Second Chance. Always Forever.
That's in my top 5.
I write it. It's like always. Everything is like, I love forbidden romance.
Yeah.
Not taboo, but forbidden.
Yeah. No, I do that. I like that too, but definitely Second Chance is in my top 5 too.
Mm-hmm.
And
I love Second Chance.
2 of the reasons I love, Enemies to Lovers, Friends to Lovers, Second Chance,
I love Friends to
is
Lovers.
because for me, I am not a person who writes insta love,
Yeah. I do though.
And so it is so much harder for me to start with a couple who don't know each other at all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, me too.
And over the course of the book, have them fall in love, as opposed to people who have some kind of history. Mm-hmm. Even if that history is negative, even if they can't stand each other, they didn't know each other. Yes. I just prefer to have some kind of a connection in the past that they can.
Yeah, I do. That's the same. It's definitely, for me, get to where I want to be faster in the story.
yeah. So Second Chance, Friends to Lovers, Enemies to Lovers, all of that gives me that, where you have some kind of system, some shared past, and usually some kind of hurt or anger in the past that you have to overcome or whatever. So that's it for me. That's why I love it.
Me too.
So that kind of goes into what was going to be my next question is, as an author, what do you enjoy about writing Enemies to Lovers romance?
I just love the challenge of getting them from that to HEA, and because I know that means usually we're gonna have to break them all the way down. We're gonna have to make them surrender to love, and usually they don't want to, because their minds are on something else always. My characters are in the middle of something when love comes in, and so I love the challenge of it. It is just wonderful for me. That's what I love. I love having to figure it out. I love thinking about it. I love getting them there. I love, really, I don't know. That's so much fun. I love the challenge of it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I love, like I said, I love kind of, because usually when I'm doing some kind of Enemies to Lovers, there's usually, like I said, some kind of history and some past hurt or whatever between them or whatever. And so I love kind of delving into that, and how it makes them confront, their own issues, before they can repair the relationship. There's also usually something that they have to repair in themselves.
Yes.
And so just exploring all of that is kind of cathartic for me.
Yeah, me too. I love it. I mean, I love it. That's the beauty of writing. You get to work out all of your stuff.
Yes, that is so true. You absolutely do.
It is. I love it.
So before I ask my next question, let me dip into some of these. One of them I pinpointed for later. Aaron Weaver says, "Hello, ladies. Thank you, Reese. I love your books. And Dylan, you are new to me. Are the books only on Kindle?" First of all, thank you. I appreciate so much, Aaron, and thank you for being here. So, Dylan, are your books only on Kindle?
No. They this series that I was talking about, the Simple series, is in KU, but it's also in paperback. They're coming to audio. The rest of my books are available wide. My Rivers Wild series is on all ebook retailers, is available in audio and paperback, and soon I'm going to have hardbacks for it as well. And I will also next year have the ebooks direct on my site along with the paperback. So you can, whatever you read on Rivers Wild, for now, the Simple series is going to be in KU, but if you read on a Kindle app, you can buy it. You don't have to be in KU to read it. So yeah, most of my books, except for this series, are in audio and audio everywhere, I believe, in the library, Hoopla, Audible.
Nice.
Yeah. So anyway,
nice. Love our libraries. We absolutely love our libraries.
Love our libraries. Yes.
For sure. Veronica says, "Great job, Dylan. I love it." Carlene says, "Thanks for the update." Okay, great. Because I asked what readers love about Enemies to Lovers. Cassandra says, "To see all the drama they go through and finally fall in love, opposites who attract." I love that. And then Carlene says, "Enemies to Lovers books are so spicy." We love that.
Yes.
We absolutely love that.
When their bodies get past the enemies before their minds.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah. And Nadia says, "Break my heart in a book, but piece it back together by the end. Enemies to Lovers shows if you can see me at my worst and want me, you deserve me at my best." Oh, I absolutely love that.
Nadia.
I love that. I love it. And hey, Shay, how are you, babe?
Hey.
As a matter of fact, I will be on Shay's show tomorrow. I always throw it to her at the end and remind people to tune in to her shows on Wednesday. And I will actually be on her show, me and Delaney, tomorrow on Wednesday. So,
okay.
Awesome.
Okay.
Janet Rodman says, "Hey, Dylan."
Hey, Dylan. Oh, Janet. Hey, girl. How are you? Hey, Dylan. Like
awesome. Okay, so we talked a lot about that, and thank y'all for your input as to why you like Enemies to Lovers. I always like hearing readers' input about their feelings about different things. Like last week we had a question where I got a chance to ask y'all, so I appreciate that so much. So Dylan,
yes,
what would be your 3 tips that you would offer to an author who wants to write a compelling Enemies to Lovers story?
I think that having your characters' motivations very clear, because you want people, even when they don't like each other, you want people to want them to be together. You don't want to be like, it's one thing to say, oh, how are they going to be together? But it's another thing to make them so far apart that it's like, we don't want them together. They're toxic.
Right.
You have to make their motivations very clear so that no matter how toxic it gets, we understand what they want, and also make the conflicts as clear and focused as possible. And do it chapter by chapter. Every point of view scene. I think, and then I think that writing your characters consistently, making sure that even as they change, because that's what Enemies to Lover is, a positive arc, right? Character arc. So it is someone, wherever they are in the beginning, they're in a better place at the end. And so but they're not changing who they are. So I think, it's just making, and that's where a second set of eyes and a really good beta or developmental editor comes in. Use one to help you make sure that throughout the book, your character is behaving as they would based on what you have, the expectations you created for your reader in the beginning. Because that sometimes makes it a little, it can, you're reading an enemies to lover, and then all of a sudden the guy who has been unapologetically murdering people is now,
Fluffy and soft,
giving cookies to his enemies.
kissing
You're gonna be
bunnies.
like, what? I mean, I don't, you know what I mean? So I think that's important. Consistency, motivations, and conflicts clear would be the top three things that come to mind. What about you?
Those are all excellent tips. And Tanya Brown River says, I love this tip. Thank you for sharing it. And you make a great point, because the book that I won the Vivian Award for, Engaging the Enemy.
Yes, congratulations.
Is my, my enemies to lovers story that I love so much. But that is the key right there. And that's the thing that also make a person, a book, enemies to lovers challenging. Because like in that book, Parker, in the books previous to that, his siblings' books, like he was this kind of pain in the ass, kind of character. And so when he was the hero, it was a challenge to like keep him consistent, like you were saying, and still be that same person, but at the same time make him somebody, a person to fall in love with. So, that can be challenging, but you got to do that. You got to figure out a way to keep them consistent, even as the relationship is changing.
And layer them so that it's not it feels consistent for them to soften up or to change their minds, make them. That's why the motivation is important, because I think once you know why they want the thing they want so much, it helps, that always, you can do wonders with motivation, even make the most villainous villain somebody that we understand.
Yeah. And I would say one of the tip I would add to the great ones that you have listed is to make the conflict feel really personal. So, one of the things I love is doing former childhood friends who have become enemies to lovers. So that arc of having that kind of deep hurt and pain from something that's happened in the past or whatever, that makes it feel very, very personal. That makes it harder for them to let go of this or whatever. So that for me is.
I love that too. Which one of your books is most like that, do you think?
That is definitely Engaging the Enemy. This is the one that won the Vivian Award. So this one for sure, because they were former childhood friends and became enemies, and then they end up falling in love again. And then the second one that was this also former childhood friends to enemies to lovers is The Rival Bid.
Okay.
So those two, for sure. Yeah. But I love that, having that be something really, really personal, that you like are really, really, the person is really, really deeply hurt by. Helps a lot.
It really does. But I was thinking too, because I was, as you were talking, I love and childhood friends, first loves. That's actually my thing. It says first love, second chances. That's my first loves. I love first loves. And I always write books that we see them in that first bud of love, even if they're young, and then the second half of the book they're adults and their reunion, and we see the fallout, and it always hurts. It's always it's because they love each other so much. As you said, to separate them, you need something something strong enough to keep them apart. But I love when the minute they how they can go for years without talking, but when one of them reaches out to the other in a moment of real crisis, they are there, there's what I mean, like that. I love love that stays, that is unmoved, that time doesn't erode, and then Oh my God, sorry, my husband is texting.
Okay.
That doesn't erode. Sorry about that. That doesn't erode, and that that's it. I love second. That's what I love about second chances, and I love it. Love
Yeah.
it because I love that hurt.
Yes, and that goes back to what you were saying earlier about like the elevator scene or whatever, and just about there's this anger or whatever, but there's still this feeling that they have for each other, and so when this person has some kind of need or you see them being mistreated in some way, then I can't accept it. I'm just
Right,
supposed to
right,
do
right,
something,
right.
right?
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
love that. I love that.
Me too. Me too.
Um, yeah, so Tanya said thank you for that tip as well. And then
You're welcome.
Charlene says Engage the Enemy. I love that book. Thank you. That's definitely one of my favorites that
Yeah.
I've
Well, there you go.
written.
That's the
So
way. What should you
yeah,
read Engaging the Enemy?
I said again.
I said that's my rec. Then
Yeah.
recommend some Engaging the Enemy.
Thank you. So yes. Okay, so perfect. So I love those tips. So now, what are some recommendations for enemies to lovers, romances that readers should have on their TBR? We've been talking about a few.
Honestly, my number one enemies to lovers romance, my number one is The Lord of Scoundrels by Loretta Chase. I know that is so out there, but I know because it's not out there because it's not contemporary. She's white and it's historical romance, but it really is. I mean, to me, that is like peak perfection enemies to lover. They could not, it couldn't be. I don't know. Have you read it?
No,
Oh my God.
See, I'm
Okay,
a person. So let me tell you my backstory. I'm a person who definitely came late to the game with romance. So
Okay.
I didn't really start reading it until like almost because I had written my first book and I didn't like I was thinking like chick letter, like my book was chick.
That
So
immediately. It is
I am
really
so late to the game. So like a lot of the classics that people talk about, I have still not read yet. So yeah, I'm still
Loretta Chase, The Lord of Scoundrels. Read it. You will never get over
okay.
it.
I wrote that one down.
Oh, I mean, it's like tortured hero, really badass heroine. I mean,
Oh, that's all
their
my jam right
conflict
there.
is set, and a lot of it is set in Paris. It's like it's gorgeous, and it's so
Is it historical?
it's historical, and it is. Dane, you'll never forget, for real. And the conflict, their conflict is top
tier. I have got to read that. Okay,
You gotta
I
read
wrote
it.
that down.
And the audio is fantastic. If you're an audio person, the audio is so good.
Oh, is it? Okay, that's good to know because I got a couple audio credits that I can use.
If you're an audio, it's probably it might be in the library, but it's definitely worth the credit.
Okay.
It's so good. I listen. It's one of my few re-listens annual since I read it. And you know how I found it was on that Oprah's list of best romances. It was number one on the list.
Wow. Okay. Cool.
Of the best romances of all time. Lord of Scoundrels, and then Flowers from the Storm by Laura Kinsale, which was also amazing. Were the top two books on that list. And yeah, anyway.
So it's Flowers from the Storm.
Yeah, by Laura Kinsale, who is, to me, no one can write. I don't know. She's the most fearless, wonderful romance writer I've ever read. I love her books.
I love that. Now, so you've given us those, and then tell us your enemies to lovers romance.
Okay. I mean, I have best for last. My book, The Legacy, which is the first book in my Rivers Wild series. They meet, and it's an insta-lusty kind of, they meet in Italy at a wedding. He's a billionaire. She is pulled herself up by her bootstraps lawyer. She's in a weird place in her life. His life is on the upswing, and they meet and they really like each other, but then they end up on opposite sides of a lawsuit that stems from Harvey in Houston. So the book is set in Houston. And I mean, he is the man who is used to having whatever he wants. And she is a woman who is so determined to make it on her own and to prove that she can, and that she doesn't want to, her pride. So her pride makes her say no a little bit longer than she should, and it's got a great grovel when he so The Legacy, Center Her Star, it's a childhood friends to lovers, enemies to lovers, second chance, romance, and the hurt in that one is very, please just hold on. It's very, just hold on and trust me. And yeah, and Thicker Than Water, they have a moment where there's some really major. Thicker Than Water is my novel about my undocumented immigrant writer and the man who owns a movie studio that's making her book into a movie. Her book about, everyone thinks it's fiction, but it's really about her life story. She's a dreamer, and it's, she was a DACA enrollee, so that was a really interesting story to write too. But they have a very strong conflict, but it's also wonderful. So I mean, my books have so many tropes on top of.
That's how I like to stack my tropes, because it just it just makes the story so much. All the layers makes it so much richer and so much more fun, and it helps me with the conflict. Having all those, but as well, they have to feel organic to the story. But yeah, absolutely, I love that. Love that. A couple that I would recommend is To Catch a Raven by Beverly Jenkins.
Oh yes, of course. Oh my God, how could I
love that book so much. I'm always looking for reasons to recommend that book, and I'm surprised it's not on the shelf behind me right now. But I love that book as Enemies Lovers. I would also say Alicia Rye's two of hers actually. One is It Love to Hate You or something like that. It's in that series with those three books. I love that. That first one is Enemies to Lovers. And then I cannot remember the name of the one. It's like got an illustrated cover and it's like a heisty kind of book. That one, they're kind of
Alicia Rye?
Yeah, they're like enemies as well, and I have to figure out the name of that one. But I love that one too. That one was a lot of fun because
I'm looking it up. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah, that one was fun because they had dated before, like a matchmaker had put them together, and they had dated before, and she kind of dumped him, and then they end up having to go on this wild adventure together to save their lives.
Oh, I like that. Okay, I love that. Okay.
I have to remember the name of that one, I have it somewhere, but I love that one. So those are some of the ones I would recommend of other people's, and then for mine, already said, Engage in the Enemy would be my number one, Enemies to Lovers, and then The Rival Bid. Both of those are former childhood friends who became enemies and then turned to lovers. And I would say the third one would be A Reunion of Rivals, because that's a second chance romance, but also she is pissed. And so it's kind of got an enemies to lovers vibe for sure as well. So just a lot. Let me see. Okay. Let me just go through the messages really quickly. Okay. So I just reread this Love, Confidence, and Haze.
Oh yeah, that's from the Legacy.
Okay, very good. And Tanya says, Loretta Chase, the title again, please.
The Lord of Scoundrels.
Scoundrels. Lord of Scoundrels. I thought you said Lord of Scandals. Okay. So thanks for asking that. Lord of
Scoundrels.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's the one I'm starting with.
It's good. I love that book. Enjoy it.
And so Tanya said thank you. Nadia says, I am new to you, Reese, but both you and Dylan have unique writing voices I enjoy. Thank you so much. Always appreciate that. So okay, great. Okay, so we all have got some books that we recommend, and then if the readers if you have some books that y'all want to drop in,
tell us your recs. I'd love to know.
Say that again.
I said, I'd love to hear their recs too.
So if y'all have recs of Enemies to Lovers books that you
love. The Kingmaker by Kennedy Ryan is a fantastic Enemies to
Which
Lovers.
one?
The Kingmaker duet.
Oh, yeah. I have that. I have not read it yet. So I have that. I was thinking about that too.
Good. It's addictive. There's two books, The Kingmaker and The Rebel King. And it's a fantastic Enemies to Lover. Oh, it's so good.
Oh, yeah. I love it. Okay. So, and I have it's sitting right over there, actually, on the desk over there, the Kingmaker, because I actually got it signed when she was here at one of the bookstores, page 158, because she's local too.
Oh, that's right.
So,
Yeah. Oh, you're in Raleigh-ish area as well?
yeah, I'm in I'm in the
Oh,
suburb of Raleigh as well. Yep.
oh,
I'm way south and she's way north.
okay, okay, yeah.
So yeah, so
Right,
probably it's like an
right.
hour drive up there or
Okay,
whatever.
oh,
But
that's
yeah,
exciting.
in the area. Yeah. So that's
Okay,
really cool. So I was excited by to
just
tell
got
her that
to
she was back
go.
in the area.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
amazing.
so that was cool.
Yeah.
So Dylan, tell us what is next for you.
So what is next for me are I have 3 releases this year, but they're re-releases of a trilogy I wrote in 2019 and took down, and I'm re-releasing them. But in January of 2024, my first brand new book with brand new characters is coming out January 18th. It is a novella, but it's a almost full. It's actually it's like 50,000 words, so it's more like it's a full-length novel. It's just a shorter full-length novel. It's my Rivers Wild series, and the first half of it is set in the Seychelles, which is a string of islands off the coast of East Africa. And I was so excited to write that, and it's coming out in January. And she is also she's from Ghana, but she's grown up in America, and they meet. It's a high. There is a the blurb says he is a billionaire single dad. She is a reformed jewel thief.
Oh my God,
And
that's exciting.
yes, and it is a second chance romance as well. So I'm
I
very
love it.
excited, and it's on its way to audio production. So
Oh my gosh.
coming out in January. So the audio will come out, the paperback, the ebook. It's called The Wild Card, and it's coming out January 2018. And then I have 4 new Rivers Wild books next year. So just stay tuned. I'm back. I'm working.
I
I'm
see
writing.
you coming back full force.
Full force. Make it the last time. I'm ready. So if you're new to me, I'm so excited to meet you, and I hope you enjoy the books and stay in touch. Let me know if you
I
do.
love it. I love it. And where can readers connect with you?
On my website, which is dylanallenbooks.com, I have a newsletter that I send out, but in my reader group on Facebook, which is called Dylan Allen Books, on Instagram, Dylan Allen Books, that's where I post the most. I post on TikTok sometimes. I'm getting a little bit more active because, I have to, but because I have to. But I love this. That's my favorite part of this job, is engaging with my readers. I love chatting with them. My DMs are always open, and it's just it's the honor of my life
Yeah.
to write stories for women and men all over the world who just want to get lost in a story. It's just amazing. I'm so grateful for it. So thank y'all for
And I
having me.
love, I love hearing you talk and talk about how you are including your own lived experience,
Yes.
about being an immigrant, and just
Yeah.
specifically including Ghana, and just I love that, and I'm so
Well, yeah,
excited.
I really do feel
I'm
like
so
it. I'm like,
excited to
what's the
get
point
lost in the Dylan Allen world.
why am I going to tell, what's the point if I'm not telling the story that only I can tell? Then that's what I want to
Yeah, I love that. I love that just really kind of delving into that authenticity and what you bring to the table. And it's so interesting because I did a keynote speech just a few weeks ago, and that was one of the things that I was talking about, is that in this kind of renaissance of my career, whatever,
Did you get to see the
I
show?
really, that's one of the things I really was saying that I want to do more of, is bring more of me and what's
Yeah.
important to me to the table in terms of what I'm writing
Absolutely.
about.
Especially in this new season of your publishing journey. I mean, you really can just do whatever you want. Speaking of Renaissance, did you go to the show? Did you get to see the show?
I did not. I went to the last one, On the Run 2, I think it was, but I did not go to this one, and I'm so upset because now, as I've been watching this, like everybody has on social media. I'm like,
yeah. No, Kennedy and I were supposed to go together. We had tickets to see her in Charlotte, and then like a week before, she had all this travel come up.
yeah,
And so we sold the tickets, and then like the day before the concert here, my sister anyway, the universe conspired to give me 2 tickets to see her on the Sunday night show, and I got to see her on Sunday. Because I've never missed Beyonce live. I've never missed a show.
oh my gosh,
I've
that's
never
so
missed a show. I'm
exciting.
such a fan. And
Yeah,
so I went with my 11-year-old son who loves Beyonce too. We had the best time, and I can't wait to see the movie. I'm so excited.
Oh yes, I am so excited to see that. I'm really thankful that she did it. And I'm gonna be, I had such a good time when I went to. She's
She's an amazing,
she's an
yes.
amazing artist. Period. And she's an amazing businesswoman. And then her performance was incredible when I went to the show. But I have to say, I was really, really. I'm not gonna say surprised, but I was because it was on the run tour, so it was her and Jay, and I was like rocking out to his
I
stuff
know, I loved
for real. Like I was
that.
on my feet the whole time, and I was absolutely loving it. It was a great, great, great show.
Yes.
So like I said, I was like, I was saying to myself, okay, I just saw her, blah blah blah. Nah, I shouldn't have missed it.
No, but you won't. Now the movie is like, it's like 3 hours long. You're gonna get to see the whole thing, and it'll be like being there. I'm going with two of my writer friends that live here. We're QB Tyler and Natasha Bishop. We're gonna go see it. We bought our tickets yesterday. We're such stands.
Oh, you already got the tickets? Are the tickets already on sale? It's not to December.
Yes, girl. Yeah, and we're gonna go see it in Columbia. And Natasha's like, I have to work, but I will find a way. I will be there.
No, what city are you in?
I live near Baltimore in Elkridge. So
okay.
Yeah, near Baltimore. Yeah.
Wow! Oh my God! Okay, yeah, believe me, I will be front and center for them. When they go to the theater.
It was such a, I don't know, something about that album, and it just was so, I don't know. I felt it just was what we needed when it came, So yeah.
It was good. It was good. So. And for anybody, I almost forgot. For anybody who is looking for Dylan's information, like her website is in the description of the show, as well as the link to buy Best for Last. So definitely, and I would assume from your website they can also find you on any other social media.
Yes,
you're on
Instagram, my Facebook group, and my newsletter are where you'll find me most.
Yeah. And for any reader at all, because things change constantly, especially right now in the publishing industry. So if there's any author you connect with that in any way you want to keep up with, join their newsletter. Because what if you just always read them because they were published by a certain publisher, that publisher might go away. That imprint might go away, the publisher might go away. And even with social media, with the algorithms changing and ownership changing, things like that, who knows what's going to happen with those.
Start your newsletter if you don't have one. Authors that are on here, start your newsletter. Even if you are published by somebody else, have your own newsletter. Absolutely. Because it is the only thing you own, and it is really, really, really a valuable tool to get to know your readers and also to grow your business.
And you cannot start too early. Like if you are an author who has not published yet, but you're working on it or whatever, it's never too early to start that newsletter, because it's going to be a key part of your career. So, and for me, I have learned that what I value more than anything is the people who come to my newsletter list organically.
Yes.
Because they read a book and it was in there and they're like, hey, I like her enough that I want to connect. Yes. Those the readers are like, just hold on to those. So absolutely. So thank you so much for being here on the show, Dylan. And like I said, in 2 weeks, the next show will be on the 17th. Rochelle Allers will be my guest here. So I'm excited about that. And tomorrow I'm going to be on Shea Baby's Brown Book series. We're going to be talking about the Men for Hire series. And then on Thursday, I'm going to be in Angela Anderson's Angela Anderson presents her literary cafe. So all three of us, Sharon, Delaney, and I will be there on Thursday. So it's a busy week. So I'll probably see y'all around a lot.
Well, it's so nice to see you. Thank you so much, Reese.
It was such a pleasure to get to meet you. And Tanya says this was fun tonight. I'm glad I stayed awake this evening. We are glad you did too. And Cassandra says enjoyed the chat, and Tanya says love beat.
Yeah, right. We do. Yes,
love beat. And we did get a rec too from Veronica. She said Beverly Jenkins.
Wow, sweet love. Okay, I don't think I've read that.
I have not read that one yet. I probably own it. I have not read that one yet, so I'm glad to hear that. So Awesome. And Tanya says, I need
Wild
to catch
Sweet Love.
Angela Anderson. It's been a while. Yeah, you definitely, I'll see you there if you're there. And Veronica says, nice meeting you, Dylan. Great show. Reese, take care, ladies. Stay safe. So that's a great place to end it. Oh, you know what? There was one other
This is
question.
from my kids. Y'all know I have teenagers because I'm doing this. That's how
There was one other question that I wanted to come back to. Dolores Lee asked, how do authors choose covers?
How do we choose them?
Yes.
I mean, for me, I look to see what, what's selling in my genre. I mean, I want it because what you want is a cover that says what the book is the minute the reader looks at it. So that's how I pick my covers, is the cover that says what the book is, and that looks like what a romance that's about that looks like. That's how, hours and hours on the stock image site scrolling until my eyes are dry and
yeah. Oh my. That's something I complain about here constantly, about the lack of stock footage, especially if you're looking for people of color. It's such difficult to find good stock footage. So that is one thing I will miss from being with traditional publisher, is because with the Desire imprint, they actually did do photo shoots.
Oh, they did
for the book. So yeah, so I was able to describe
custom shoots for you.
Yeah, so it's like I was able to describe the characters, and they all. I have to say, I was very lucky. I was definitely in the cover lottery in terms of what I got for covers from them. So I appreciate that.
So great.
So it's definitely, since I've been picking since I'm back into the cover game of picking my own covers, it's a challenge. So that's the nice thing about illustrated covers too, is that I was able to get what I wanted in terms of the illustrated cover.
I mean, I think the thing is, though, we have to remember with our covers that we're not our customer, and what we like is not necessarily what they like. And so I think the most important thing you can do is to test your covers before you, just to see what people click on. Just put it up somewhere, run ads on it, test it. That's the best way to pick a cover, is by checking to see, because the cover is what you're using to sell it. So yeah, and that's the beauty of the indie game too, is that you can change the cover. Like if it's something's not working like that in an instant.
Yep, you can change it in an instant.
Change a cover, a title, whatever. You can do whatever. And
I love it.
Always breathe new life into it. So
yeah, that's so helpful. So again, thank you so much for being here, Dylan, and thank you all as readers for being here. Carlene says, I'm currently reading Date for Hire. Thank you. I hope you enjoy Jet and Amaya's story. So and another rec, Nadia says, Evelyn take over.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's great. Okay, so another rec, love that. And The King by Nana Malone.
Oh yes,
love Nana Malone. So
love Nana Malone.
Yeah. Awesome. So all right, thank y'all so much for being here, and hope you all have a great night.
Thank you so much. Thank
and
you.
I hope to see you elsewhere this week on one of the other shows.
Yeah, I'm gonna be following you.
Yeah. So definitely make sure you join Dylan's newsletter. So follow the link to her website and join her newsletter. So y'all have a good night. Thanks so much.
Have a good night. Thank you so much.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye.